My challenges: long work hours, family, friends, COVID, and also working for Evolve. And let me just add a little asterisk. When I say working long hours, I was working a midnight shift. So my job, my day job was actually at night, starting at 10, sometimes 11 o'clock at night. So I would do the Evolve boot camp and then go to work. So what advice would I give somebody who is facing a lot of challenges like that? And essentially it comes down to like, like time management, like how did you do it? First and foremost, you have to commit. Okay. As I said before, if you're not failing, you're not trying. If you feel that you're ready and you take the exam and you do not pass, the journey doesn't stop there. That's just, you just hit a step and now you're going up. It's still a journey upward. And sometimes failing is just one of those steps because you could sit back, reflect, you look at your notes, you'll be like, okay, I did not do well getting the foothold on this box, but I knocked it out the box here. I did great here. I could tweak my methodology. And that was the methodology that I used is one that is in the OSCP manual and also reiterated and expanded during the boot camp. So the first part is commitment. You have to want the certification. Now, for you, that could mean many things. It could mean many different types of motivation. It could be personal. For me, it was personal. I'm in law enforcement. I'm not in cyber yet, but I knew that this would at least get me two things. It would pass the HR test, and also it will build on what what I learned in my master's program. Just kind of a side note, I was actually more proud when I passed my OSCP than graduating from my master's degree, but I hope nobody from DePaul is listening to that. So you gotta be hungry. You have to commit. If your work is paying for it, that's fantastic. I had to pay everything out of pocket, but now you do have a little bit of that pressure, right? Because your work is paying for it and you don't want to disappoint. But even if you don't pass, if you're still working forward and you're still showing commitment, then you're still in a very good position. The second thing that you need to do is really prioritize your work and work-life balance. Okay, everyone is always talking about, oh, I work too hard here, I'm burnt out, I want more time to myself. This is probably one of the hardest things that anyone can do because if you've committed, then there are things that kind of need to be sacrificed just for the moment. You sacrifice a little bit now for the greater good later. We're talking about doing a reality check. How much time do you spend binge watching a show? If you're a gamer, how much time do you spend gaming? What do you do that is essentially taking up a lot of time? Are you a guy that's a guy or gal or a person who sleeps 10 hours a day? Could you cut it down to 8 and make it a little bit more realistic? All these things sound silly, but they add up to several hours that you can use to study and research different topics. There is a little bit of sacrifice, but it's very temporary. Okay. And this is very real talk for me. These are the things that I had to go through. I had to get a buy-in essentially from my friends and family. My family, I told them, it's like, listen, the weekends, the days off that I do have, I need to spend studying just a little bit. So I may be late to a party, or I may not go to a party, or I may not go and hang out. And I'm not saying you have to give up going out to the bar in the weekends. I'm not saying, miss every birthday or every celebration. I am not saying that. I'm just saying prioritize the studying and get it done. If you have the family support and you have your friends supporting you and they're backing you, that gives you a certain level of accountability. Because if you don't pass, they're going to ask you, what happened? You gave up all this time and you didn't, and you're still working on it. They may ask for an explanation, and you better have a good one, right? You didn't spend time with me. Were you studying? So there is a level of accountability. This was another beautiful thing about the boot camp, because the boot camp has a certain structure to it, and you're paying a good chunk of money to have access to an instructor, to training assistants, to network with people, and now you're all in the same boat together. And believe me, as I would notice, especially as an assistant instructor, when a student wasn't in class, I was always reaching out, hey, are you okay? Are you ill? Is there an emergency? Is there something that I can do to help you out? What is it? Because I was automatically thinking the worst when they didn't show up, because there is a certain level of commitment that you have to put into this. And if there's something happening, and they're not there, I want to make sure that they're okay and whatnot. So that was the beautiful part about the boot camp, was all the accountability. And if your friends and family are on board, there's almost no excuse.